State highway systems built with your tax dollars are now being sold to the highest bidder. And incredibly, it's being done with the federal government's encouragement. The Bush administration likes this idea. Some of the leading bidders, foreign investors. Lisa Sylvester reports.
Wall Street is paving the road to highway privatization with help from the Bush administration. Nearly 50 investors submitted bids to buy or lease the Pennsylvania Turnpike. Indiana and Illinois have already signed over its toll roads to a group of foreign investors, and other states are eyeing privatization as a quick fix.
People are frustrated, both public sector people and citizens are frustrated that the roads are very congested. They're overcrowded with trucks, there's not enough capacity, and yet nobody really wants to raise gas taxes.
Transportation Secretary Mary Peters offered model legislation encouraging states to tap into the billions of dollars that the private sector and lenders have amassed to invest in transportation. But Congressman Peter DeFazio says it's a deal for the corporations and investors, no deal for taxpayers.
These private interests would have the power of eminent domain, and they basically would have unlimited authority over the term of the contract to raise tolls, a private entity beyond the reach of any future state legislature, governor, or Congress under contract.
Critics also call it fiscally irresponsible. States receive a lump sum up front, future generations receive no toll revenues. And public sentiment is solidly against selling off taxpayer-owned assets, especially to foreign companies. In Indiana, more than twice as many people were against the deal than were for it. Transportation groups are dismayed the Bush administration has officially backed these private-public arrangements.
We were stunned, we were amazed, but I'd have to say, unfortunately, we were not shocked. They've been shopping this idea, this draft legislation, this proposal to states for over a year now, and to them, rather than responsible transportation policy, their answer is to sell off our highways.
Despite the many concerns, privatizing highways is gaining momentum across the country. Legislation is expected to be introduced in Pennsylvania in the coming weeks that will call for a long-term lease of the Pennsylvania Turnpike. Right now, Lou, the leading bidders are from Australia and Spain. Lou?
I mean, this is just, it's incredible. The ideas that are being put forward to avoid public responsibility. The idea that a state government or an authority of any kind could sell infrastructure, highways, it just boggles the imagination.
This, if there's ever been an example of where private corporate interests and the Bush administration are sort of working hand in hand, this is a perfect example of that, Lou, and unfortunately, the average person, the average consumer may not be a winner out of all of this, Lou.
Well, if they're not aware, we're going to do our best here to make them aware. The idea that whether it's Indiana where it was a 2-to-1 opposition, yet they went ahead and sold that highway in Indiana. The fact that people haven't got the energy and the commitment to stop these kinds of problems. I mean, this is public treasure, infrastructure, national assets that are being given away, sold away to interests, private interests. It's, as I say, mind-boggling. Lisa, thank you very much. Lisa Sylvester from Washington. Lisa will be following this story throughout. That brings us to the believe U.S. highways and roads should be owned by private companies. Yes or no? Cast your vote at LouDobbs.com. We'll have the results for you later. I may add something for the suggestion box tonight. What do you think should be done with the public officials who... first of all, let's turn to the idea that there is a growing trend encouraged by this administration, Bob Pickett, to sell off highways and super byways.
You know, Lou, I saw that piece that ran a little earlier. It boggles my mind that the American public would allow their major assets, their infrastructure assets, to be sold off to foreign interests. I mean,
how about sold to
am I drinking bad water here, or what are the folks in these states drinking?
Well, you know, John Corzine, the New Jersey governor, he wants to do the same thing to the New Jersey Turnpike.
Yeah, it's outrageous.
It's idiotic.
Tell me the heartland, Steve Cochran, is going to rise up and rebel against.
We're going to rise up.
We're going to rise up and we're going to identify the fools.
Because the coasts apparently are lost.
Yeah, the coasts have been lost for a long time.
Next thing we'll be doing is selling off the White House, maybe.
Well, we don't want to start a strong...
The tolls are already big enough on the George Washington Bridge. Can you imagine some private corporation on this?
It boggles the mind.
It does boggle.
And the idea, by the way, the United States National Guard at the border. All right, how do the folks in Chicago, Steve, feel about the U.S. National Guard? Our National Guard, in retreat from four shotgun-wielding Mexican nationals crossing the border illegally into the United States.
Well, that's a complete joke. And then the Schwarzenegger thing this week with free health care for everybody, green cards optional. Look, common sense, do your job. When are we going to get back to that? The whole thing gives me a horrible headache. Just look at my head. I have a horrible headache.
Bob Pickett?
No, I think that, Steve's right on the money on this one. I think that we need to wake up. We got to stop the infiltration of illegal immigrants into this country. They can come, but they have to do it the right way. And for the governor of California to suggest that universal health care is appropriate for everybody, including immigrants, I think
it is appropriate for immigrants,
but not
it's illegal aliens.
Yeah, right. No, excuse me. Yes, illegal aliens.
You and I have talked on my show about this, and the fact that they are illegal is unacceptable.
That's right. Except to this administration and his good friends,
the bottom line.
The government of Mexico.
Absolutely so.
John Gambling, thank you very much. Bob
Thank you.
Pickett, Steve Cochran. Gentlemen, have fun. Have a great year. Thank you. Come back soon. Still ahead, the results of our poll. Stay with us, please. 97% of you in our poll tonight say U.S. highways and roads should not be sold to private companies, as is now being proposed and encouraged by the Bush administration. Time now for one last email. Connie in Florida. We cannot retreat in Iraq because we want to fight terrorists there and not here. But the National Guard has to retreat when armed men cross the Arizona-Mexico border. I feel much safer now, Mr. Bush. Thanks for being with us. Send us your thoughts, LouDobbs.com. For all of us here, thanks for watching. Good night from New York. The Situation Room with Wolf Blitzer begins now. Wolf?